Howdy y'all, this is Dwight and welcome back to my channel. Thought I'd do a little bit of an introduction on this video to explain what I'm going to attempt to do. I'm planning on doing a series showing how I go about making a basic slip joint pocket knife. Going to say up front, I am not considering these tutorials by no means. If they help you, that's great. Some of y'all that are way more experienced than me might shake your head or laugh, what have you. I get that too. Everybody has different skill levels, different equipment, and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to show how I go about skinning the proverbial cat, so to speak, on how to make a basic slip joint pocket knife. So, I'm going to attempt to show most things. There's some things I'm not going to show. Say, I will let you know that I'm fixing to cut some parts out or something like that, but I might not necessarily show that. Cutting tools can be noisy, and in my opinion, something like that's rather rudimentary anyways. So we'll just kind of gloss over stuff like that. Other things I will show bits of, and even other things I will probably do some explanations as I go about doing what I'm doing. So keep that in mind too, you know. Let's see. Of course, there's going to be numerous videos, numerous parts in this series, because I'm just going to be filming as I'm able to do it, and I do have limited storage on my phone. So like the length of the videos, I can only go so long, and I do have some health problems, so I ain't always able to be down here in my shop consistently. Like for example, I went a month and a half without having a video of showing a pocket knife I finished, because I wasn't able to be in my workshop during that time period. But if things are going well, I might have a video or two a day if I'm making real good progress. Or I might be able to make a video every day, or it might skip some days. We'll wait and see how all this goes. But give you a heads up on that. But I dare say there's going to be quite a few parts to this series. I think I've mentioned most everything I wanted to mention. So at this point, I will go ahead and I will get my phone turned around and pointed at my workbench, and we will begin working on a pocket knife. Okay, this is what we got going on. I have my pocket knife pattern. I have made it out of stainless steel liner material. I've used brass as well. To me, it doesn't make much of a difference because I leave things just a little proud on all my parts. That way I have room for error. On my handle pattern, I do not do the center hole because I do have it on my back spring, but I set the tension on all my knives individually. It just leaves me a little bit extra room for error compared to if I would have that pre-drilled. Then the room for error gets a lot smaller. Just got a cheap carbide scribe pen. I'm using some CPM 154, 3/32 inch thick. This is inch wide stock, and it's just regular mill stock. It's not precision ground or nothing like that. And as you can see, I've already scribed around my pattern, so I will be back once I have that cut out. And I'm just using an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel on it. Okay, here's a quick look at how they turned out after I cut them out with an angle grinder. Got it relatively close to the scribe lines. Still proud. I'll clean that up on the belt grinder. But what I'm going to focus on next is I have this Nicholson triangle file, and I'm going to go ahead and file in my sharpening notch. So I'll be back when I'm done with that. Okay, I have my sharpening notch put in. That Nicholson file puts a nice finish on it, which I generally leave that dark after heat treat. Still have not got all the way down to my profile. I have not went to the belt grinder yet. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scribe my line for my long pull, and I will put the long pull in this. I have just a cheap mini mill. Of course, right now I have it set up with a stone for a nail nick, so I'm going to have to change that out. Again, this is one of those things, if you have a machine like that, that's great. If you don't, well, then there's other methods to do. So I'm not necessarily going to show the milling part of this process. I will say that we'll be using this small bit, and I have a piece of tape on it so as I can go by depth. And no, I do not know how deep that is. I eyeballed it. So I'm going to scribe my line to go by. And again, I do not measure. I'm eyeballing this. I eyeball most everything. There we go, and I will want it to end about right there. And I will want it to end about there. And there is what that looks like. And if you look down it looks like it's pretty even to me. Of course, I'm still proud. If I accidentally mill that in slightly crooked, I can adjust the spine to match my milled in long pull. That is a reason why I have not final shaped this yet. So I will be back once I have that milled in. Okay, I just got done milling in the long pull. This is another one of those machines that is rather noisy, but this is how I do it. You may have something different. This is a magnetic chuck. We've got a sewing machine LED light. And let's see how we did. Doesn't look too bad. I'm going to set you down here. Looks like reasonably even with the top scribe line there. So my next order of business will be drilling holes in these two. Okay, in preparation of drilling the holes, I'll do the pivot hole here first. I'm going to center punch where I want it. So I'm going to get my pattern and line it up with my scribe lines. I'm just going to set it on this 1, 2, 3 block here to give it a little bit of a base. There we go. Now I have a center punch mark in there. So we'll go over to the drill press and we'll drill this out. Okay, I have my drill bit in there, and we'll be doing the pivot hole here. We'll turn this on. There we go. We have our pivot hole drilled. Okay, I'm fixing to get me the profile down closer to my scribe lines on the blade and the back spring. I went ahead and drilled the holes in that as well. And I'm going to do that on my Ameribraid 2x72 belt grinder. Of course, it's variable speed. And I have the rest on it to go in the horizontal position. And these are all my old belts. And I'm just going to be using one of my more worn 36 grits. I don't have a whole lot to get down to where I'm going to get to the scribe lines. So I'm going to get the belt on, and actually I'll do that real quick. That way you get set this over here, get a quick look at how the belt grinder looks in the horizontal position. And there we go. So now I can toss these up here, and I can use the larger wheel down there, or I can use the upper wheel. So I'll be back after I have them pro. Okay, I'm going to be calling it to the end of this video, but I just finished profiling the blade and the back spring out. So this is where we're at. I've left everything is still proud on the tang area, and just very, very slightly proud there along the spine where the spring will connect. The rest of it is fairly close, and I will finish profiling it whenever I fit it to the liners when I get to that point. The back spring is the same. I've got it fairly close. Along the spine it might be just a smidgen proud, and as I fit the blade in, I will make sure it clears in that part of the back spring. But both of these are ready for heat treat now for me. That's where I get before I heat treat. And a lot of that I didn't show in great detail because for the most part it's kind of rudimentary stuff. Didn't want to bore you, didn't want to blast your ears out with machines and angle grinders and all like this, that, and the other. So I will commence the heat treating these probably tomorrow or something like that. I doubt I will show very much of that because everybody's heat treat oven runs a little different. Or if you're having to heat treat in a forge, something like that. So I might show what I am using, but that will probably be the extent of the heat treat process for me. I do thank you for stopping by and watching this video, and I hope y'all enjoy the series as we progress through building this basic slip joint pocket knife, which is, I don't know if I said it or not, it's a trapper pattern. So there we go. Hope y'all have a good evening, and until the next video, y'all take care.